Take a look at the radar and some of those thunderstorms that we had out last night. They're now moving into the central part of the state right there. So Helena, we're in the clear here for the rest of this evening. For tomorrow, a few thunderstorms come back on Thursday. Whoa, the font is really big. You can see the temperatures are in the 70s right there. No need to adjust your television. I'll go work on those numbers. But yeah, the Beartooth Highway, a ton of snow up there. Well, the weather is very quiet and we'll take it for as long as we can get. Meteorological summer begins June 1st, and boy, this weekend is going to be hot, low 90s, and then a June swoon right after the heat. We've got rain, cooler temperatures, and mountain snow. We'll talk more about that coming up.
After two wood product facilities closed last year, Pyramid Mountain Lumber and Roseburg Forest Products, Montana lawmakers introduced a bill to provide low-interest loans for entities looking to open a new wood products facility. MTN's Zach Volheim reports.
A law passed during the 2025 legislative session could provide $6 million in low-interest rate loans for an entity that wants to start up a wood products facility, a facility that could sit on a site like this one here in Seeley Lake, where Pyramid Mountain Lumber used to sit.
So I think the likelihood of somebody coming here, obviously there'd be opportunity at other mills as well, but they really like the ability to source timber from this site.
Todd Johnson, owner of the recently closed Pyramid Mountain Lumber, says that the new law would incentivize anyone looking to open a new facility.
I think the main designs behind it were so that it would allow somebody to secure a site. $6 million would go a long ways towards securing a site here in Montana.
Pyramid Mountain Lumber closed in March 2024 for several reasons. Johnson says the mill was no longer able to process the quantity needed to remain profitable. The mill also had a difficult time finding workers, but a new mill could solve that problem.
A lot of the newer sawmills are very automated, very streamlined. Where our facility, was 75 years old and grew from, in a center spot to several different buildings, and then whenever you are spread out further, it takes more people, and the more streamlined you are, the more one person can do two or three things as well. So it just reduces. There's sawmills out there right now that produce 2 to 3 times what we do with only maybe 25 people in the whole facility.
In a statement to MTN, the law sponsor, Montana Representative John Fitzpatrick, a Republican from Anaconda, stated that it's intended to be part of a capital stack. The developer might have that need to put together to come up with enough capital to reopen the facility. One factor that a new wood products facility would have to overcome is the lack of labor that exists in Seeley Lake. Johnson told MTN, however, that some of those workers that have found other jobs since the mill closed may be interested in coming back to the mill if benefits were offered. And the new mill could also have facilities that increase the efficiency and decrease the amount of labor needed. In Seeley Lake, I'm Zach Volheim, MTN News.
Governor Greg Gianforte vetoed a pair of healthcare-related bills. It's the latest legislation he's rejected, citing budget concerns. Senate Bill 72 would have made it quicker for older Montanans and those with disabilities to receive Medicaid benefits for home and community-based services. Senate Bill 244 would have required state employee health plans to cover behavioral health screenings with no out-of-pocket costs. Both bills were sponsored by Republican Senator Mike Yakowicz of Billings. Gianforte said in his letters announcing the vetoes that he is committed to ensuring access to quality care, but the benefits of these bills were not worth the potential costs. Both of these bills passed with more than 2/3 support in the House and Senate, and that means lawmakers will have an opportunity to vote by mail on whether to enact them into law despite the vetoes. Special Olympics Montana handed over the grand prize to the winner of the 2025 MTN Chevy raffle today. Winner Pam Ebel of Missoula and her family traveled to City Motors in Great Falls to get their 2025 fully loaded Chevy Silverado pickup. Pam's ticket was picked out of over 131,000 tickets at the state games in Billings earlier this month. Pam says she has purchased raffle tickets at Town Pump every year for longer than she can remember. She says she enjoys supporting the athletes, and winning a truck is just a bonus.
I always like the idea of supporting Special Olympics. I've known people that have been in Special Olympics over the years. It's really worthwhile, and these guys work so hard. And they deserve the support. And I'm going to cry, so you can cut it off.
The 2025 MTN Chevy raffle raised more than $713,000 this year to support training and competition for athletes. And still ahead on the news at 5, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz will have his full forecast. And later, a group of United States tribes file a lawsuit in federal court seeking more accountability from the government over its role in Indian boarding schools.
MTN News at 5 continues right after this. Storm Tracker weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. I've got the camera pointed out in the direction of Holter Lake because we have gotten a report of a small wildfire above the Holter Lake area. Not seeing any smoke right now. I'll be following that situation for you. Otherwise, beautiful day. It's a little on the breezy side. It's got some gusts up over 20 miles per hour and a pair of 7s. Boy, what a beautiful weekend and just a beautiful stretch of weather. Temperatures all across the state in the 70s. We have a bit of some wind in a few locations. We had some gusts up to about 30 miles per hour in Helena earlier, now at 22 miles per hour. Storms, yeah, they hit us yesterday afternoon and into the night. That was a pretty good little thunderstorm last night. Well, those storms have moved on off towards the east. Pretty good thunderstorm right by Harlowton right now, and a few storms out there closer to Park City and Red Lodge, Laurel, and Billings, seeing some storms, with more storms across the Cowboy State of Wyoming. We've got some good rain on the East Coast. It was not the nicest of Memorial Day weekends over there on the East Coast. So here's a long-range computer model. Beautiful weather the rest of this evening, tonight, tomorrow. It's very nice. Thursday, most of the day is nice, but we will have a few thunderstorms coming through on Thursday evening. I don't think everybody gets hit with the thunderstorms, just a few scattered storms. Friday, it's dry and warm. Heading into Saturday, the final day of May on Saturday, dry, sunny, and hot. What's hot? Low 90s. Yeah, first time this year. And then Sunday, cooler air starts to work its way in. We could have some scattered showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon, but look at what happens early next week. Monday, rain developing. That is some mountain snow. And it looks like Tuesday stays wet with some mountain snow as well, possibly even into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So June starts hot, but doesn't last long. Here's that precipitation. You see the darker oranges. We're talking inches of precipitation next week. Could be a nice soaking rain Monday through Wednesday, even possibly into Thursday. Tonight, another fairly mild night, 40s and low 50s. Tomorrow, Wednesday already, we're in the 70s and low 80s, mostly sunny, hardly any wind. It's a beautiful day. Into Thursday, cold front comes in late in the afternoon. That's getting pretty toasty. 87 in Helena, almost 90 up in Havre, and some afternoon and evening thunderstorms. That front moves east here for Friday. We're still at 81 behind the cold front. Very nice day on Friday, and then heading into Saturday. Whew. Find me some water to cool off. Upper 80s and lower 90s for the final day of May. Getting into Sunday, June 1st, it's likely that we have some thunderstorms later in the afternoon and the evening, and then rain on Monday and Tuesday, possibly into Wednesday. So it stays hot until it's not.
A new federal lawsuit filed last week seeks a deeper reckoning about the harms of Indian boarding schools and the federal government's role. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian is in the studio with more on the lawsuit.
Thanks, Marion. Two tribes, one in Oklahoma and one in Nevada, filed a proposed class action suit against the U.S. Interior Department on behalf of all tribes whose members were sent to boarding schools over 150 years. They're asking the court to order a full accounting into more than $20 billion spent on the boarding school program, including money they say was taken directly from tribes. I spoke to Shane Morigeau, a state senator and attorney and a member of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes. He says his grandmother was one of the students who suffered abuse in these schools, and that it's important to continue to look for resolution to what happened there.
I'm glad someone has stepped up and said, you know, we need to do something about this. You know, the United States, you know, you've acknowledged that you did something, that a lot of wrongs happened. We've been telling you that, but that's not enough. You know, we need to start healing the damage from that.
Now, the lawsuit was filed in Pennsylvania because it's the home of the Carlisle Indian Industrial School, one of the most recognized boarding schools. Students from more than 100 tribes were sent there over 30 years, and at least 200 of them died. The Blackfeet, Fort Belknap, and Fort Peck tribes have all sought to have the remains of some of those children returned to them in Montana. Now, the Interior Department did come out with reports outlining what happened at these boarding schools in 2022 and 2024. Those filing the lawsuit said those reports still leave a lot of questions unanswered. In the studio, I'm Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
The Scripps National Spelling Bee has a storied history, and for many of those years, two people have been at the center of it all. I'm Maya Rodriguez at National Harbor, Maryland. Coming up, we'll introduce you to them.
MTN News at 5 continues right after this. From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back, everyone. The Scripps National Spelling Bee kicked off today, bringing together more than 240 students to SPELL their hearts out.